on Instagram and not TikTok because that was never happening. So you think this shit is still gonna go through? Like, I mean, it's now what, 1 day away, or like it's tomorrow?
Yeah, I don't know.
You don't have a prediction?
I do
Alvin, who
not.
always has a prediction about everything, this time no prediction. Damn. All right, fair enough, man. If you don't know, then it's really unknown. All right, what are we talking about, folks, in the chat? How we living, everybody? What's going on in y'all's minds? I also need new game recommendations. I just got finished with Antichamber, which was pretty good. It's definitely my type of vibe. I think Subliminal is the next one I'm gonna play. Eddie smokes with cigarettes. What's that mean? What's that phrase mean?
Boondock. It's a Boondock reference, I'm assuming. I don't know where Boondock. I don't know where Boondocks got it from, but yeah.
Which episode was that? So I was really excited about Cyberpunk 2077 when the shit first came out, and I'm not a gamer, but I was like, oh, this is definitely looks like a vibe. It's pretty, blah blah blah. But then yeah, after I heard all the reviews, I was like, oh, I guess it's trash. Is it now
it's
good?
now? Yeah, it's good now.
Oh, okay.
It was good like 6 months, after it came out, and they patched everything. Like,
okay, but it was kind of too late. The reviews had already come in, kind of thing.
I mean, most of the reviews were mixed. Like, if you look at like a Metacritic perspective of it, it was like a 60 to 70%. Like, it was fine. It just wasn't. It was very clear it wasn't a finished product. So I think most people reviewed it with that in mind. Which is a critique of like the video game industry in and of itself, like the pressure that studios have to ship basically unfinished games, because that happens like all the time now. But now,
and that's just because they're like overworked because the games are too complicated, or is it like, is there something else? Like they could do it good, but there's some other factor in it. Because it seems like an Arcane shit where it's just like games are just more complicated than they were before, and so it's just like either it's going to be super slow or you're going to have workplace abuses and half done shit.
Yeah, I think it's some along those lines, to be sure.
Yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, because the games definitely have taken a major leap forward. So I'm always, because like Antichamber, like that one was made by like one person, like maybe like, or a team of like, maybe like a team of like 3 people, something like that, like one director and then like 2 or 3 kind of coders or whatever. And so, yeah, those indie games that are made by like a very small amount of people are always interesting to me. Oh damn, you right. Hold on, let me change the goddamn banner. I just put anything up there. Hold on. Oh, you know what? I think I just, how do I change this shit? Let me see. Hold on. Okay, wait. Edit. Let's see. And thank you. I appreciate that. See, that's how you calmly and respectfully give feedback to the podcast. We appreciate you for that. Oh, Eli, are you working out right now? Is this the background music to that? Wait, so are you watching us while you work out as you do sets, or are you just listening to us in your ear? Either is fine. We want to encourage you. You know what I'm saying? You can do this. Just one more rep. Okay, so the smokes with cigarettes thing. I think that's that. I hang out with my friends in the mall and do hood rat shit. I think it's from that clip, then synthesized through Boondocks. I don't know how that refers to me at all, because I was a dorky little kid and I never did any hood rat shit with my friends at the mall. How much lore does one need to know to be black? It only really matters at the outskirts. You know what I mean? Once you're kind of Logic or like Drake's son, then it's like you have to have read the book. You can't just be going off the movie. You know what I mean? TikTok and the Gaza ceasefire. I mean, is Trump going to save TikTok? Because
He's been saying that he might for weeks. So maybe.
By what method?
He could executive order.
Okay, so just turning the whole shit over on his. Yeah. Okay, I could. I mean, I'm trying to think. Would that
The
be
executive order
plus
would
for
get
him?
challenged in court,
But it could
but he could
forestall
just
shit
do
at
it.
least.
Exactly, like the executive order challenge in court, unless they want to. There are ways that they could accelerate it, but they probably wouldn't. Um, like that could buy you months, and somebody could figure some shit out. But yeah, who knows?
Yeah. Okay. I wonder whether or not that would do good for his if that would be viewed positively if he goes, oh,
Yep.
okay, I'm gonna. Yeah.
Yeah. Like so one, there's still niggas that like vocally support Trump because they think he. So I do. There's some level of millennial, Gen Z, Gen Alpha that he saved TikTok. He really got down with that one. So I imagine that would happen, especially because there are people that still think that like this is some sort of psyop to suppress information via TikTok, as if like that's the only way to get information. Uh,
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I don't.
so
I'm
I
not
so I
sure
think
if
so
I
I think
find that
it would
compelling.
be a win. No, I
Yeah.
definitely
Okay.
find it compelling. And again, like a lot of the black people that's like you had a Kaisenet stream where like everybody in the room was like he gave us stimulus check so the hood fuck with him. Like so yeah, I definitely think in the vein of that there'd be a lot of people that
Okay.
say he saved my favorite app and
Because
he's
it
like I'd
seems
ride
like
with him.
the largest constituent of vocal. Oh my god, I can't believe they're banning TikTok shit seems mildly progressive. So it seems like it's a progressive issue. I can't imagine that's entirely true because it's like there's so many people on TikTok, including, conservative creators and shit like that. So I wonder how that goes. But I could imagine people who are on the conservative side or just on the, you know, fun, young, and dumb kind of side being like, yeah, cool, he saved TikTok. You know what I'm saying? We got the stimmy and we got TikTok back. We
Also
fucked it
like
up, and
there's
Trump
yeah.
saved it.
And also there's like this thing where you see the intersection of younger people are typically the people that are going to be more likely to be on TikTok, which is wildly popular. And those people in terms of the actual voters in the last election are much more conservative than people thought they were. Like there was, and I was one of those people that were very much leaning into the, well, Gen Z is going to be like the wokest generation of all time, and the actual Gen Z voters were actually much more conservative than people thought they were. So I definitely think that it could be a
I
feather in
think
the
there's a
cap
sampling issue
for.
there though. Like,
I think it's all. I think when you're looking at voting, it's always potentially a sampling issue because there's
yeah,
there's
exactly.
one there's a pretty decent percentage in the United States for international listeners that are eligible to vote and don't vote, and then there's a relatively huge percentage of people that aren't eligible to vote. So even if you get, 200 million, like voters in any particular thing, like there's tens of millions of people that you don't capture from that perspective, and depending on how you sample from that perspective, you miss people that are particularly younger, right? Your voting blocks are typically going to be older. So yes, there's typically a issue, but even within that space, like you're still effectively a sampling of tens of millions of younger people that
Yeah,
leaned
so
that leaned a lot more conservative than we thought the likely voters would lean anyway.
and which is yeah. So to continue my point, you're absolutely correct. That's always the case. But the idea that like what the people who don't vote are randomly distributed isn't correct. Not saying that you're assuming that, but that's part of the assumption that gets made incorrectly. If we're going, hey, this population is getting a little bit more progressive, I think especially in this last election, there's a force which is the all things being equal, going more progressive decreases your likelihood of actually voting. And so what happened is, I'm not saying this is exactly what happened, but an interpretation of what we saw is something like, or could be something like, the people who were more progressive were a little bit more likely to stay home, which we know for a fact that effect was in place for all populations, and two, Trump was able to activate new voters into the conservative, voting pattern that weren't there before, which is different than saying the entire generation of all citizens of voting age has moved right.
Yeah, I would have to look into that because I don't think his margins were particularly that good with his conservative base. Like I don't think he brought in like more conservative like from that perspective than he did in the past. I also will say that
with young people, they're like new ones that are born. So I would say it's a look into it thing because I don't necessarily know, but I think it's hard you can't compare between 2024 and 2016 because literally a whole new generation of motherfuckers are.
But that's every election, right? Like you get a rolling.
We're talking about Gen Z specifically.
Yeah. But if every generation is assumed to get more progressive, right? Like millennials were more progressive than Gen X's were more progressive than boomers, so on and so forth. Demographic.
That's two different things.
No. So I don't think they're two different things. I think they're very much related. So like
they're related.
Gen Z. Yeah, so Gen Z was considered to be, like I said, at one point to be the more like the wokest generation of all time was things that got called out, which obviously
that's our starting
point. But millennials were also considered at one point to be the wokest generation of all time. Gen X's were considered to be the wokest generation of all time. So
we're on the same page.
Exactly. So demographic destiny from that perspective means that you have a rolling influx of people that you would consider to be more progressive every single election. So that happens at any given point. But the only thing that I would say, because I don't disagree with what you're saying, other than, and this isn't a disagreement, but like I said, I will need to look into exactly what the margins are. But in terms of the actual impact of older Gen Z voters in this perspective, what people were saying that they thought they were going to be particularly progressive and particularly strong, they were talking about likely Gen Z voters. So it was very clear after a point that you would get low Gen Z turnout. That was very clear. Like analysts and all that kind of stuff were fully aware of that.
An answer to this. Maybe you do have an answer to this, is whether or not Gen Z voted at the rates that was expected. Because then that would maybe contextualize which way this thing goes in terms of what you're saying. Do we know that?
I know that.
Okay, so they did,
yeah, and that is why if you look at it, like that's why, like looking in hindsight, you saw like Trump making statements like, "I'm so far ahead, y'all don't need, like I can't even discuss that with y'all," and like everybody thought he was bullshitting, right? Like he was like my people are telling me not to tell. Like he made a statement like, "My people are telling me not to tell y'all how ahead I am." Is one of the things that he was saying in interviews.
That's hilarious.
And again, everybody
saying that and then winning is actually hilarious.
Yeah.
I don't even want to ball on y'all this goddamn hard, but just politically, I couldn't help it.
Yeah, like that's the kind of shit this motherfucker was saying. But it's also like, of the likely Gen Z voters, even those people cut more fucking like conservative than that. So sampling issue aside, looking at the sample that everybody expected, which is very close to what we got, those motherfuckers were like, "Oh shit, we're a little bit more turned off by some of these things than others," and it's mostly not what people would think in terms of progressive thought. Like it wasn't like Palestine and all this stuff. It was very the economy and culture war shit.
I think Gen Z boys for sure.
Yeah,
that's I'm going. I don't know, because the other thing is just touching grass, being in the streets, and being around people across generations, being at events and shit like that. Is like Gen Z men are quite silent. You know what I'm saying? Like they're not out here like that. They're not. You know what I'm saying? They're not at the events. They're not schmoozing. I mean, not that it's zero. Of course, it's not zero. But in terms of just like the percentage that you would expect of niggas to be at a party, at an event, talking, doing shit, organizing or not organizing, or arguing at a dinner party or not, they're quiet. They're not there. They're in the background. So a lot of that doesn't. It definitely implies a sort of secret basement society type of vibe, but that's me narrativizing. I don't know if the data actually supports that, but that's what it feels like. But that's
the data definitely support. They're less fucking social, man. Like the data definitely supports that.
Their women seem like they're more out here than them, though. But like their women seem more like about the normal amount. Now, still a little bit less, but about the normal amount, or not the normal amount, but the amount of previous generations. Let's look at this this thing that's if you're so inclined, old boy, or actually I don't know, but old boy, yeah, Victor, whatever. Old boy said, what to do if a woman you're seeing agrees to an open long-term relationship but wants a don't ask, don't tell policy when engaging with friends, family, and acquaintances. All right, Victor, we're going to try and answer this. I would say I'm going to need more details, but with zero details, I would say don't agree to that. That's weird. But maybe there's other circumstances, but like with all friends, all family, and all acquaintances, I'd be very curious to understand what her motivations are. If she's trying to protect herself because she's embarrassed about her behavior or your behavior. And also the other thing is, you know what? You use the term agrees to, which makes me think that you're the one that wants this and she's like tolerating it. That might not be the case, but that's what that screams to me, the use of that word. So I would say you're creating a situation that she's not actually comfortable with unless it's a secret, which I would say for both of y'all's benefit, don't bother with. Just open it. Just like either do it or move on to another lady. But feel free to give us more detail, Victor. Favorite movie this past year, Mars Express, bar none. Alien Romulus. Yes. What about you, Alvin?
I don't remember the last new movie I watched. Honestly, it might have been when we fucking saw Challengers. Like I haven't.
Yeah. Okay. What's the last old movie you saw? And that's still from last year. So is Challengers your favorite movie of last year?
It's honestly, it's the only new movie that I can remember seeing.
Okay, Challengers. That's a good choice.
Like I haven't, like there are movies that I was very excited about that I haven't just had time to watch. Like I haven't watched the new Dune, for example, and I could watch that like over here.
Yeah.
I watched Any Given. I half-ass watched Any Given Sunday like
game?
2 weeks ago.
Football movie. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and I've seen it like
Jamie
40
Foxx?
times. Yeah, Jamie Foxx, Dennis Quaid, Al Pacino.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you see Jamie's stand-up special yet?
No.
So good. Killer. I also so I saw Substance, which everybody is just fucking flicking their bean to this last year, and honestly, it's whatever. Like it was cool, but like it was. I don't know if any of y'all in the chat saw it, but the whole plot to me didn't make any fucking sense.
Conceptually, I don't think it didn't seem interesting to me. I'm still going to watch it because I eventually
conceptually
watch of that
it was interesting to me. It was very much a like Seth Brundle, The Fly, body horror, Severance, mind swapping, what's consciousness, what's beauty kind of thing. It was a very light plot though. It didn't have like the plot was just very, here's the premise, here's what happens. It's similar to The Fly. It's like there's not a lot going on besides the premise. But then the mechanic of the premise just made no fucking sense. So yeah, I don't know. And, okay, so what's it about then, Reggie? Because the plot is literally what a movie is about. That's the definition of it. So what was it about?
There are definitely movies that I think
I know what he meant. I'm just being disingenuous. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Like every Luc
John Wick?
Luc Besson like movie or whatever, like when he does like Fifth Element or whatever, like I'm not watching this because the plot's right.
It's for the
visually
vibes.
striking. Yeah.
Same with what's old boy's name? One Car Y. This shit is straight vibes. There's no plot going on in this, but
absolutely.
I don't like One Car Y shit. I do like Luc Besson shit though, except Lucy. But low key, I kind of do. So whatever.
Again, visually, Lucy. Like I saw Lucy was one of the first movies that I saw on like a really good home theater system, like 4K good sound. Just a phenomenal experience. I even like fucking Valorant and the Thousand Planets or whatever, because again, there's that scene where he's like running through.
I haven't seen that.
Like it's like a scene where he's running through like a bunch of different worlds and how those like things like change instantly as he's going through stuff.
And the way that they animated that or whatever.
Yeah, just a beautiful fucking scene. So you can definitely have a movie that rises above the plot in some areas at least. Yeah,
and I think there's movies. Yeah, I think I'm a plot heavy person. Like it doesn't need to be a complicated plot, but it does need to be a compelling one where I'm like, I care what happens next with these characters, what their relationship. But it can be super simple. Like I love a good movie. Speaking of, those who will not be named. But Ryan Reynolds had this movie called Buried, where he was in a
which
coffin.
is phenomenal, by the way. Yeah,
it's a great fucking movie. Don't nothing happen. We never leave the coffin. It's basically this nigga in a box with a cell phone. It's basically like if you took the movie. Shout out to you, Quite, $10 in the chat. It's basically if you took that movie Cell Phone or Cell Booth or whatever the fuck it was with Colin Farrell or Firth or whichever one of them, and you just shrunk it down to where it's like it's basically nothing on the screen, ain't shit happening. Interesting as hell. I loved it. It was a good movie, so I'm fine with that. She likes the idea of an open relationship, but she doesn't know if she is completely ready to be open with family about it. Okay, so can you tell me how you came to the conclusion that she likes the idea? Like, what did that conversation look like? And the reason I ask this is just because I'm trying to. I've been the fuck nigga who's been polyamorous, but really I know that she really didn't want to be polyamorous type shit. So I think that how you came to that conclusion kind of matters. Like you got to kind of check for if there's a no instead of trying to check for the yes, if that makes sense. Because she wants you, obviously. So she might be willing to, okay, well, I guess I can do this, kind of thing. And the reasons why she's not ready to be open with family also matters. If those are the things that are motivating it. Yeah. But if she's like definitely game for it, cool, I want to experiment, but I don't want to be embarrassed if this shit goes weird or my family's conservative and I'm okay to kowtow to that a little bit. Cool. I'm a little bit more hesitant why she wants it to be secret from friends as well. That seems a little bit more, I want to lock this down into monogamy and I don't want people to know that I ever tolerated anything else. How do men see men who are with a fat girl? I need more context on that question. Phone booth. That's the one. Yeah.
What, Colin Farrell? Phone booth?
Oh, yeah. It was like a sniper on a rooftop or some shit.
Yeah.
We didn't really talk heavy on Red Note, but I did download it for the podcast, but I haven't done anything with it yet. Let me see. Actually, fuck. Tenet. Yeah, I mean, I didn't hate Tenet. It was fine. I think the plot was so complicated that its plot holes made people more angry, but otherwise it was fine. The only thing I hate about Tenet, obviously, as I've said a million times before in this podcast, is John David Washington. He shouldn't have been the lead on that movie. And the sound mixing was trash.
It was a Robert Pattinson movie. It should have, like, Robert Pattinson was like the most interesting character in the movie, and I think they should have leaned more into that.
A little bit. I don't even know if I say that. I feel like Robert Pattinson is good. That motherfucker can carry a movie. He's good as Batman. He was good in what's that movie where he had a little mentally handicapped brother and he was like running around the city.
Remember Me?
Because he had robbed a bank. Oh
no!
I don't know what that is. What's that? No. That's not like a 1990s football movie.
No, but I have no idea what you're talking about.
Good Times. That's the one. Good Times. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. With Good Times, I was like, okay, well, we'll see.
Look, man.
And it was
man. It's great.
Water for Elephants. What's that? Is that a Johnny Depp movie? That seems like a romance happening in India. It's what?
It's Arpats, man.
Oh, Water for Elephants. Okay. That shit sounds like it takes place in a hot country.
It takes place in a circus back then.
Oh, those type of elephants. Okay. Got you. Water for Elephants is a 2011 American romantic drama film. Okay.
I will say I did want to have the question. I don't think most men give a shit if another man is with a fat woman. Like,
I think it depends. But maybe I don't understand the question. Maybe you can say how you're interpreting the question because I'm not sure I get it.
I'm thinking of it very face value. Like, if my homeboy is like with a girl that's fat, like, do I think any type of way about it? I'm like, nah, like, I don't care. Like, do you like her? Like, that's, is she good to
okay.
you? Like,
if it's in that vein, then I think that, I don't know. I disagree. I think that people are incredibly fucking judgmental. Like, I don't know. Like, people like to say like, oh, no one's thinking about you, but it's like, baby, if you walk out of the house with a new outfit that you you're trying something new, some heels that you never did before, and you're not confident in your heels. You're a masculine presenting person, and this is the first time you wore a dress or whatever. You go out, motherfuckers are looking or trying to not look and thinking all kind of crazy shit.
I think you're right, but I think that that's what we're talking about is a subset of the general superficialness of like people, right? Like I'm not saying that men are going to look at every single woman that their homeboy dates and be like, oh, she's fine as fuck. But I'm just saying, like, I don't care if she's fine as fuck. I don't care if she's not fine as fuck. Like, that has absolutely nothing to do with me. And I also, in that same realm, that means I'm also not looking at him as less than because he's dating somebody that just like I may not necessarily.
In terms of what we're talking about, and because the question was about what do men think, not what do I think. Yeah. Which is a different thing. So I think everybody knew that that's what you thought about this, but I'm curious, like, is that what you also think?
That's what I think men think, right?
I don't think so. I think because men
definitely think so because I've.
I feel. Let me get this off. Because I think that what is happening with a whole bunch of men is what we always do is we're always comparing women. It's the reason that men are promiscuous because it's like your homies go, oh damn, you was with da 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 da, and it's a way of getting clout. Men are obsessed with this shit. I don't know if I say most or all the time or across all life, but enough to where it's not insignificant. So when I think about this, men 100% go, oh damn, she's bad. How did you pull her? Oh damn, you were her. Da 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 da. So to extend that, men's insecurities around whether or not the men are looking at them with enough adoration based on which woman they bring around is not unfounded and is 100% based in what some not insignificant amount of niggas think. I don't know if that's the answer you wanted to hear, but that's 100% what's going on. At least some amount.
I don't even disagree with that. I just think that that's not the same thing. I think that you're, and I don't even think that you're being unreasonable with the extensions. I think
yes, she can be fine as fuck and be fat. Yeah. So there's sometimes it's a, you know what I mean? Depends.
Yeah. I think that you're making
question. Yes, obviously. Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah. Robin. I think that you're making like extensions that I don't think are unreasonable, but they're still like extensions. Like I think you're saying like people care about this, men care about their status, men care about their clout, men compare people, men size people up, men size women up, all that kind of thing. Like I do that, and I think you're using that to say now I care who my homeboy dates. And I think I think that there's some level of reason to that extension, but I just don't think that's a 1-to-1 correlation. But I agree with everything that you're saying. I just think that
I don't think it's 1-to-1, but I think it's 1 to like 0.8. Like I feel like all of the things that I said that we agree on add up to enough men give a fuck about who their homeboy or because the whole internet is every time a fat woman posts her boyfriend who's conventionally attractive, a whole bunch of men blow the fucking internet up. So it is a fact that there are some amount of men who care about this. Now we're just talking about how many it is. And maybe we disagree on that, which is fair. And I'm happy to discuss that one out. But some amount of men, a significant amount of men, maybe not a majority, maybe not even like a plurality of that. But the things we said add up to some niggas care.
To bring it full circle, and we probably need to close this out. I will say that I think that's a sampling. I think that's a sampling error.
Yeah, look, I agree. Twitter ain't real life. I'll answer this last question, which is just stale question. All right, who should pay for the date? Nobody. Don't go. Stay home. Is there ever a relationship in there? First place. Curious on your thoughts. For experience points, that's crazy. Can I get the pussy just to see what one is like? I think there could have very well been a friendship there to be in the first place. It depends on how you define friendship. I think that you can be attracted to your friends, and that can be difficult. I think that also sometimes you can accept friendship in lieu of a fuck buddy. But I also think I would say that and maybe I'm doing mental gymnastics. I would say some component of romance anyway is friendship. So I would So I would look to how has this person treated you? And how do they continue to treat you if you don't want to fuck? But I think even then, and this may not apply to your situation, but something I always say is nobody has an obligation to stay friends with you if they want more and they're dissatisfied with what the relationship is. That can be because they thought that they could get over it, or they what's it called? caught feelings after the fact, and I think that's fine too. If they start treating you weird, like cruel, then they probably weren't your friend to begin with. But if they respectfully dip or just go cool, that's not an issue, then maybe they were. It depends on how they treated you, would be my answer. I agree with you, the most potato. Cool. All right. Peace, everyone. We will see y'all next week. Peace.